Following AOR live stream is brought to you by the following sponsors: Elgato Gaming, Hype Energy, Thrustmaster and GT Omega Racing. Make sure to check them out in the description down below. Hello and welcome back to Apex Online Racing's F1 2018 League with Hype Energy Drinks. We're on the PS4 and bring you full live coverage of F2 this week from Montreal's Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. First held in 1967 at Mosport Park, the race alternated with Mount Tremblant until 1978 when it moved to Montreal and has stayed there ever since. That original race being won by Gilles Villeneuve, the track now bearing the legendary man's name. The track is a very fast track that is hard on the brakes, and the hairpin into turn 10 is likely to be the best place for overtaking this evening, while drivers could look to take advantage of DRS into the final chicane and skirt with the dangers that is the Wall of Champions. Tyres available is the Hypersoft, Ultrasoft and Supersofts for the 35 laps from tonight's race. Now, last time in Monaco we seen a frantic and highly talked about race at Monaco, which seen Sean win on the night. However, a steward's decision in the last few hours has reversed that decision, which has put Sean down to second and given RC Spider his first win of the season. Will we see another new victor tonight, or will someone else who's already won take up the mantle today? My name is Andy, and alongside me in the box again is Ollie, as always. Ollie, how are you doing? How do you think this is going to go tonight?
Well, for starters, don't believe it's going to be anywhere near as dramatic as last week's crashes and incidents. Of course, there was one thing we should mention involving the driver formerly known as CSR Hamilton, who was involved in probably one of the most controversial events in AOR's recent history, at least, where he purposely took out a driver, Lee Finley, who is here this evening. Hamilton is not. He has been black flagged and completely stripped of his place in the league. I also say formerly known as CSR Hamilton because the guys at CSR have parted ways with him as well. He's now known as UPL Hamilton, so he's been dropped by them and signed by one of the smaller leagues who are looking for esports drivers. So he will not be here from now on, and you know, it's a shame we've lost a number, but at the same time it can't be condoned. But we've got ourselves a tight little grid here. Shame really, but it doesn't mean there's going to be a lack of racing. We've got some of the quickest guys out there. Sean, as you mentioned, Spider, who won last time out. New driver VSR Blizzards, who has got some serious pace behind him. Some familiar faces: Davidos, Big Parenta and Cherry Tupai. So yeah, it should be a good race. Obviously, we've got ourselves one of the classics on the calendar. I absolutely love this. 14 corners and the iconic Wall of Champions as well. So we should have ourselves an absolute peach of a race.
Absolutely, and the weatherman down in the pit lane, Casper, always gives us a weather update. Look at that in the chat. Race full wet to overcast conditions. So the drivers can just go for it on the Hypersofts then, if it's going to be a wet start, and just go for the outright pole, because if it is going to be a wet start, then they can just start on the wet weather tyres. But we're going to follow Davidos in the Ferrari for a lap off this 2.7 mile track, up into 7th gear, down on the brakes into turn 1, 3rd gear, and then down into 2nd, down into 1st very briefly for turn 2, back onto the throttle, up into 5th gear, 6th gear, and then turn 3 and 4, very quick chicane in 4th gear, around about 100 miles an hour. He's bumped the wall on the exit there, and then through and under the trees and up towards what is turn 6 and 7. Very easy on the exit of 70, slide wide as you get the power down. He's now coming up through the gears one more time, not going into 8th gear as he goes under the bridge and into turns 8 and 9, and once again got to be mindful of the wall on the exit, and then on the power one more time and into the heaviest braking zone, turn 10, the hairpin. Famously, we've seen Nigel Mansell come to a stop on the final lap in 1991 as he was waving to the crowd, and then down the back straight, the one of 2 DRS zones, the other one's on the main straight. We see Davidos going up into 8th gear, 210 miles an hour before he hits the brakes at 100 metres, using as much of the curbing as possible, missing the Wall of Champions, over the line, 7th gear, and first lap time is a 1 minute 8.919, and that is around about 2 seconds quicker than Sebastian Vettel's pole position lap time from this season's race. So a nice little marker there from Davidos on the hardest tyre possible, the Supersofts as well.
yeah, expect that time to be smashed, as we're expecting a lot of guys to get into the 7s based on the pace that I've been informed upon. So that looks to be a banker lap from Davidos. The tyre degradation around here is quite strong. That's something to keep an eye out throughout the race. See whether guys can continue with their tyres. It's going to be a long-lasting tyres are probably going to be the ones you want. A one-stop is doable, but it's looking like a two-stop is probably your safest bet, unless you can really stretch them tyres out nicely. I'd be surprised if we see people comfortably starting on the hypersofts and only doing one stop, because them hypersofts burn up very, very quickly. That's why a lot of the guys aren't out on them. A lot of them on the ultra softs and the super softs, as Davidos has done. So there you are, 1 minute 7.6 from Lee Findlay. From Sean on the hypersoft tyres. So he's decided to start on the hypers. Maybe he believes he's got enough grip and enough degradation and life can be saved within them pink wool tyres. So yeah, we're interested to see what the guys can do. Yellow flags are set to 1 after Sean. As our first 5 times, it's Sean from Lee Findlay, Jim Pasty, Davidos and Cherry Tupai, the only guys to set times.
Yeah, they're only 5 out of 13. Small field tonight, missing a few drivers, unfortunately. Real life can sometimes get in the way. We're currently watching Blizzard coming down the back straight. New driver to the tier, and now joining into the Reynolds, and he's heading straight for pit lane, deciding to abort that lap. So he is not going to carry on, but he's got some good pace. Very quick driver is Blizzard. I've seen him racing elsewhere before, so we need to look out for him during the race as we watch Big Parenta come across the line and go up to P3 in the Red Bull to instantly be dropped down to P4 by Lee Findlay, who goes across the line into P3 on a second lap on those hypersoft tyres. So Sean, Spider and Lee are the only ones in the 1 minute 7s at the moment, but with 12 minutes to go and a completely dry qualifying at least, we won't see that for too much longer. 12 minutes to go though, and it's Sean, the championship leader, at the top of the standings just now.
Well, you've got to be thinking about this, some of these drivers, I dare say, will be, that if you haven't really got that much pace, with it being such a small field, and overtaking is a possibility around here, as you mentioned, at the hairpin down at turn 13, you've got the final chicane down at the Wall of Champions of 13 and 14, after the back straight. I mean, you can call it a back straight, but it's not really. It's in the exact same patch of road, just a small chicane separating that and the start-finish. So a couple of overtaking areas. It's not an impossible track to overtake. It's one that's going to really bunch these guys up. I'd be surprised if we see someone run away with it today, even though Sean has got some competitive pace and has probably been the championship favourite ever since he picked up his race victory. He's been consistent as always, and he is starting to take a little bit of dominance on this championship. But yeah, if you are one of the slower guys, say, I don't know, Jim Pasty, 1 minute 8.5 on them on the hypersoft pink wall tyres, you may find that it might just be smarter just to back off, take 11th, 12th or 13th, and from that just keep it nice and simple and you know, to have a fresher choice of tyres. It's like the Cherry Tupai and Davidos who have gone out on the ultra softs and super softs. You've also got Ruben on the ultras, who obviously want to go for the ultimate strategy. Maybe it'd be tactical to go for a little bit of a slower time, and that the race comes to you in the later stages would be something to keep an eye on, because 4 guys yet to set times. They are Blizzard, Casper, Dan Daniel and Tactician. VP Dan Daniel has actually set 2 laps, but both of them were invalidated. So the same went for Tactician, he had an invalidated lap. So I was speaking to one of the drivers, Andy, and this is something we probably wouldn't have initially thought of, but it's something that apparently is going to come into play quite a lot, and that is penalties. So penalties could actually decide the race winner and the podium here, because it is so easy to pick up a 3-second time penalty or something even more major around this tight street circuit.
Very much so. We've seen penalties come into effect in other races as well, but round here, as you say, it is very easy with the way the curbs are into the 3 different chicanes to easily just extend the track limits as far as the virtual Charlie Whiting goes. We just seen Dan Daniel there going into P4, but that's 3 laps he's now done on those hyper soft tyres. But of course, if it is going to be a wet start, as we've been reported from the pit lane, then obviously it won't be too much of a problem as it normally would be. But we shouldn't need to worry about traffic jam tonight, since we've got 13 drivers rather than a usual amount, which is normally somewhere around 16 to 18. I know RC Sam's been missing for the last couple of races. I think he's been having some issues, and Vettel Racer's not here tonight. His steering wheel, he had a Thrustmaster T300 died on him in the last few hours, so unfortunately he is missing due to that. Didn't feel comfortable enough throwing it onto a pad, which to be honest, having tried it, I don't blame him, to be honest. So I tried it the other night for a bit of fun, fun, and I completely stuffed it into every single wall I could have. But at the moment, 9 minutes to go. Sean is still at the top of the standings, 1/10 clear at RC Spider. Lee Finley in third, he's still 1.6, just under 2 tenths behind, and Daniel in fourth, 2 tenths down. Big Parenta fifth, 4 tenths down. Casper just coming into pit lane now, he's in 6th place. Ruben is 7th. Jim past the 8th, Cherry 2Pie in 9th place. He gained as well due to Stewart's penalty, so he actually gained up with P6 from Monaco. I think he finished P8 on the night, and he is in 9th. And Davidos rounds out the top 10. The top 9 all within 1 second of each other at this point in time.
Yeah, interesting to see. I'm noticing a recurring theme that keeps on happening with the PS4 F2 guys, and that is that the first set of laps always are pointless. None of them ever set their fastest lap straight away. They always, for some reason, hold a little bit back and have a little bit of sandbagging. I'm looking at from Big Parenta downwards, and all them guys can go quicker, guaranteed. So, as there's another time that the H Eagle has actually gone up. So yeah, you'd expect a lot of these guys to be improving on their times, and out lap now for RC Spider. Sean also coming out. 8 minutes to go. You'd imagine they can get a couple of laps in pit and then go out once again. So depending on how many sets of the Hypersoft tyres they've got, we'll keep an eye on what them guys are able to do. So yeah, we are close call at the moment. I think we may see somebody going to 1 minute 7.3, 7.2s maybe. That's where we want to keep an eye. Only 2 guys yet to set time. That's Newbie Blizzard and Pad Runner Tactician. Andy, as you said, running a pad is difficult. I've done it myself. Never driven with a wheel on this game. Not the easiest thing in the world to do, but you've got to give a lot of respect to Tactician for grinding it out and racing on a pad, especially when he's done it around Monaco. It's one hell of a task. Not sure if we can hear from Andy at the moment, maybe having some mic trouble. But yeah, Tactician is in P1st at the moment. I think he's just about to ramp up for his first flying lap. There's a bit of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully the guys can clear it out. Tactician just clipping a wall there as he starts now for his lap. Keep an eye on what he can do. He's now going to come across with a start-finish straight and into turn 1. A long left-hander. It looks like he's going a bit slow there. Tactician doesn't look to be the cleanest of first corners, but he's got it nicely lit up them rear tyres, a little bit of oversteer, and going nicely now through one of the first sets of chicanes. Wants to avoid any inkling of them curbings and walls, because a little bit of damage can cost him. Doesn't want to get a time penalty. He's on a 1 minute 8.3 at the moment. It looks like he's going on a lap. I'm not too sure. He doesn't look to be pushing, so I think he may just be going on a little bit of a cruising lap. Yeah, DRS isn't open, so he's just cruising, Tactician. He's going to try and go once again, or pit for another lap. So he's left now Blizzard as the only guy not to set a lap.
Yeah, don't know what happened there, because the mic was on, so hopefully you can hear me now.
No.
Much better. Good.
Yes, you can. Yes,
excellent.
Yeah.
So
silence.
I don't know what it is. I'm going to blame the jack, because obviously I've got the simple headset plugged into the controller. But anyway,
so do I, yeah.
We've got 22 people watching us at the moment, so hello to you all. I'm also going to just shout out to TTG Lambo, someone who I've commentated on elsewhere previously. He's shouting on for Blizzard here tonight, who we're watching at the moment, having just joined the league in the Renault. He's now on a 2nd attempt, having aborted his first one, and he's the only driver currently not to have set a time at the moment. But lovely to have so many of you along. We obviously got quite a lot of people along last week at Monaco when it all started going off. We had some great action as well, 3 wide nearly down the front straight at one point before everything went off, but obviously we are now going to move forward with what we have now rather than looking back. As Blizzard comes through the final corner, he's finally going to set a lap time. Oh no, he's not. He's backing right off, so yeah. He's being very tactical with that one, let's be honest with it, and he comes cross line. He's going to be right at the back because the top, well, it was an invalidated lap time anyway, so he's still not set a lap. But if you look at it there, even with Tactician on the pad, 7 tenths between 1st and 12th at the moment, and it's RC Spider now at the top of the standings. Well, 1 minute 7.5, just less than a tenth ahead of Sean in 2nd.
Yeah, only one driver has set a time that isn't on the pink-walled Hypersoft tyres, and that is Ruben. He set his time on the Ultrasoft. So Cherry 2Pie and Davidos decided to go off them and get onto the Hypers. Fitted at the moment, every single person is fitted the pink wall tyres. Not everyone's out on track at the moment, of course. There's a few guys in, a few guys out. Sean is out there. He's going to be one to keep an eye on, but I get the distinct impression, Andy, I'm not sure if you do as well, but every single one of them cars out on track at the moment is going to be coming into the pits, and it's going to be one hell of a mad scramble within the last 3, maybe 2.5 minutes, where these guys are really going to bunch up. So if you can get to the front of that pack, you could gain yourself some significant time, but at the same time, if you're in the very back of the pack, the track acclimatization, the track temperatures may be in their peak later on. So it is a real tactical one for these drivers to decide who's going to get pole here.
Definitely so. Sean's coming through there. I thought he was going to start a lap, but he was running out of fuel, so I'm wondering if he's invalidated somewhere along the lap. And yet there's Casper heading into pits, Daniel's in the pits, and Big Parenta going very slowly coming down the back straight. I wonder, is that Red Bull ran out of fuel? Having gone up to P4, he's tried to turn the battery up and he's not moving very fast at all. Hopefully he can crawl that one back to the pits. He's got 3.5 minutes, so he's got time. Hopefully he stays to the right hand side just in case, but there's only one driver on track at the moment, which is Jim Pasty on an outlap, and I think he's further round.
That's very early.
He's obviously deciding to go a bit earlier while the track is clear to avoid getting caught up with anyone, so he's the only one there because Big Parenta grindingly slow back into pit lane, but he has made it now and he should have just enough time there to get back out on a fresh set of tyres. So we'll follow Jim Pasty at the moment, who's coming up to start a lap. He's actually done 2 laps on those Hypersofts, which is very surprising. No, he's not, sorry. I'm looking at the best. Yep, I've got it on best rather than fitted. I've done that so many times.
Yeah, Ruben and H. Eagle are also out now as well, so he's got some company.
Yeah, so we're going to start seeing drivers onto tracks. Jim Pasty just winding it up now for a fast lap, and we'll see if he can improve on his current P11 time at the moment. As you can see, that is Casper there, just coming out of pit lane, I do believe, with the green helmet. So Jim Pasty, the only one on a fast lap at the moment. He's going to come across the likes of Dawidos and possibly Dan Daniel as well further round the track, so hopefully they're able to stay out of the way to allow the Williams driver the chance to get a clean lap time in. So 2 minutes to go here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. RC Spider, the Monaco Grand Prix winner after a steward's penalty to Sean, is currently in provisional pole, and Sean, still the championship leader by a nice margin, is in second as we come into the last 2 minutes, and Jim Pasty locking up into turn 10 as he heads now down the back straight alongside the River Lake at the side, which is where they held the rowing for the 1976 Olympics, I think it was. Something like that, anyway. I'm not too far out in the years, anyway. And bear that one in mind, because that will come back later in the year as one of my questions, because I'm going to throw some questions at you now and again in the chat as we move forward. I love a bit of trivia. But Jim Pasty not improving on his time there at the moment. Yellow flags in sector 2 and 3. That's likely drivers slowing down. Oh, the H Eagle, is it?
Yeah, I was on board with him there. Just keep an eye, because obviously you had Pasty who was out on the first man out. So I looked at the second man who's going to set time. It's a H Eagle. He can't to the hairpin, and he was braking normally, and then he just all of a sudden decided to give up. And I think he wants to find some track space. So he's obviously having one warm-up lap and then one other, maybe one flying lap where he had an invalidation. It didn't look like he did, but he backed off, created some space. It's a little bit of a shame, really. We haven't got the mini-map to see where the guys are on track, but. Yeah, he's got himself some nice clear track. I'm a little bit surprised Pasty went out so early, because if you notice the amount of traffic he found himself in kind of hindered him at the moment. The last man to set a lap, I believe, is going to be Sean, who is weaving at one hell of a rate.
He's just coming across the line now, the number 87 on the championship leader's car, and the Dutchman looking to get another victory. He's technically in a way won 4 races this year, but due to after race penalties he's only got 2 on the standings. He obviously finished first on the road in China after a late lunge up the inside of the H Eagle as he bumps off the wall going through turns 3 and 4, and then obviously last week in Monaco due to a penalty gave RC Spider the win. So we know he's got the pace. He had a brilliant race in Spain at the Circuit de Catalunya where he, after the safety car period, pulled away with some ease from the rest of the competition, so he is definitely going to be one to watch. The checkered flag is out, so this is the last lap times for everybody, and Big Parenta and our Ruben have already dropped out of the session. We're going to follow Sean to the end. He's got the Red Bull ahead going very slowly there, so it's not going to be setting a lap time. That looks like it was Big Parenta obviously having retired from the session, and here comes Sean up to the last chicane. Can he get it through? 125 miles an hour through the apex off the chicane. Misses the wall of champion, ran out of battery though, and he is not able to improve. It might even have been an invalidated lap, so that is not good for him. Caspers came into the pits. Here comes Cherry 2Pie to cross the line for his lap. Can he improve in fourth? Pole position for the Toro Rosso driver. 1 minute 7.499. Lovely lap time from Cherry 2Pie, and the only one that could beat that is this man here, Blizzard, who is going half speed at the moment, so he's out of fuel. So that is it. Cherry 2Pie takes pole position by 8/100ths of a second from RC Spider. Sean will be third on the grid, Casper in fourth, Davidos fifth, Lee Finley sixth, Big Parenta seventh, Daniel in eighth, Eagle in ninth, and Ruben will round out the top 10. But just looking at those gaps, very, very close between everybody.
Yeah, did anybody expect Cherry 2Pie to get pole? If I'm honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised it's not going to the stewards, that one. Maybe it was going to the stewards.
We'll soon see if it's coming. Who knows? It might still do. But there you go, the standings for it, and look at that, even all the way down to Blizzard in 13th, just a second between everybody. But it is Cherry 2Pie, the Scotsman, taking pole position, Spider in second, Sean third, Casper fourth, Davidos in fifth, Lee Finley in sixth place, Big Parenta seventh, Daniel in eighth, Eagle in ninth, Ruben 10th. If they do all start, if it is dry, which we don't think it is, it would be Hyper Sauce for the top 9 and Ultra Sauce for Ruben. Jim Pasty in 11th, Tactician 12th, the pad runner, and 13th for Blizzard. And actually, I've got to mention as well, Lee Finley's currently on a pad as well, so fair play to him being up in 6th place on the track there. So going to be an interesting race, even though we've only got 13 drivers. We always have a wee bit of fun, obviously, Ollie, in regards to it, and you never tire of reminding me that you're beating me right now. But I'm going to ask you first, who's your prediction for the race? As you can see, it is a very wet track.
Oh, we got going for one to watch instead of race winner. One to watch. I'm honestly, I have to have another look through the grid and see what guys start tyre wise. Obviously we're gonna have wets and everything, but actually, yeah, when you think about it as well, some of the guys who started on the or went slow like Blizzard and all that, I'm a little bit surprised really. I would have expected him to go a bit quicker because he was always backing off and it never seemed like he got going at any point. But I'm gonna go big. He's 5-1. You know, always gotta go big or go home. It could really be anyone. I'm really not too, because with the fact it's raining as well, anyone could crash out here. One to watch. I'm leaning towards Blizzard. I am leaning towards Blizzard, but there's a part of me that wants to say the H Eagle, but I'm going to say Blizzard. I reckon he's got some pace hidden away.
Well, we'll soon see. Although he has just commented in the chat going, "It's raining, so." Take that how you feel. Right. He is definitely one I'm going to watch out on. Looking through the chat as well, Big C saying Cam versus Sean, please. That could be very interesting if that happens. That would definitely be in the steward's room if that one goes on. Iceman asking as well, is the pad OP still a thing in 2018? Real quickly, you might know that one better than me, Ollie, because I've not played it very much and I don't keep up to speed with everything.
Not really, no. I mean, let's look at Tactician, where he is, down in 12th. He only qualified one single wheel runner. So yeah, I wouldn't exactly say it's OP. They've sorted it out more so that if you do have a benefit on the wheel compared to the pad, that's why most of the top guys in AOR all run wheels. So I think there's only one singular guy in the top class who runs a pad. I can't remember who that is exactly. Not off the top of my head, I'd have to look into it. But yeah, pad OP is no longer a thing, luckily, for the guys who have invested in £250 wheels. They'll be pretty pleased to hear that.
Very much so. But for me, since you've stolen Blizzard, because I was thinking of that, having watched him in many races before, tonight I am going to go with... Casper. I think Casper's on for a good result. He's been in the points every race. He's been improving pretty much every race as well on his previous race finish. So I'm going to go for the Toro Rosso man to finish highest out of our two drivers. So watch me now having put a curse on him. I'll probably put it in the wall of champions in lap 2. Here's hoping not. But they're coming round to complete the formation lap for the Canadian Grand Prix. 35 laps of this 2.7 mile circuit. And obviously it is absolutely soaking at the moment, but the weather forecast is it will be overcast towards the end of the race, so there still might be the chance of dry weather tyres. Got a terrible camera angle, what the heck's going on here? There we go, it's a bit more like it. So we're waiting on the lights coming on now. We've got Cherry 2-pound pole, RC Spider beside him, 5 lights are on. And we're underway, and look at that half throttle just tiptoeing away off the line as everybody. Sean and Casper touching wheels as they come along. Sean's going to look for the inside. Lee Finley in the middle between Davidos and Casper. That's a pushing match going on there. They've managed to all get through that fight without any damage, hopefully, as Casper sliding his way through. Lee Finley in 5th place, Davidos in 6th. The H-Eagles got past Big Parenta, and Blizzard and Jim Pasty are fighting at the back of this order. Here we go with Daniel, he's got Davidos there coming through the spray. It's so hard to see almost even in the game to come through under the trees on this first lap, and I'm going to have to jump back up the front because Sean is lining up. RC Spider coming under the bridge, he's surely not going to have a go there though. Nope, he's going to pull back in for the meantime. So apart from 3 wide between Lee Finley, Casper and Davidos, a very safe start from everybody there, Ollie.
Yeah, I was looking further down the field. It looked like there was some carbon fibre. I think it may have just been some leaves, as weird as that may sound. The H-Eagle and Davidos are continuing a nice little squabble side by side. Further down behind them, Big Parenta and Ruben as well. But I think there could be an opportunity for the H-Eagle to get the Scarlet Ferrari here of Davidos. The pole has been second fiddle to his teammate, and he does not want to be second fiddle to the Sauber team as well. And Davidos has been able to hold him off. Further down, Big Parenta and Ruben continue to go side by side into the final chicane. The Wall of Champions beckons for one of them, but they kept it nice and clean. A little bit of wheel barging, but nice to see that nobody's picked up any major damage. Casper has dropped a place to Lee Finley, who's got past him down the straight. So poor entrance out of the poor exit out of turn 14 at the final chicane has meant Lee Finley can move up a position further down the field. No real changing of positions. Blizzard has gained a position on Jim Pasty, and Tactician as well has gone up quite a lot. So Jim Pasty with a pretty poor start, but yeah, a very clean race.
Sorry, cut across his Spider and Cherry 2-Pie touching wheels going through turn 6 and 7 there. Looks like Cherry lost a bit of ground because they were pretty much nose to tail going under the trees there. Here goes Sean having a look at Spider, but he's had to pull back in there. So wonder if Cherry just lit the tyres up and just got a bit sideways, because these two are right on his tail. And as you can see, the full field is covered by just over 8 seconds at the moment. Lee Finley doing well. You've seen him on the stream the last lap here, going up the inside of what I believe was Davidos on that occasion before he passed Casper further round into lap 2. So it's all going about. Blizzard's moved up to 10th place, having got past Big Parenta there in the background. Couldn't quite see it through the spray as they come up to the chicane for the second time of 35. The interesting point here in this race is going to be much later on though. It's going to be if they need to pit, because obviously if it was to stay wet the full race and they could make the tyres last, there's no need to make a pit stop when it is raining. But if the weather is correct and being overcast, there is a likelihood that dry tyres might just be needed towards the end, and that could cause a mad dash at the end of this race. Got a yellow flag further back, it is Blizzard. He is dropping down a few positions there, unsure quite what happened. We caught it at the end on a poor camera angle. He was up in the 10th place there. Big Parenta and Tactician have moved ahead of him now, so didn't quite catch that one, but Blizzard dropping down after setting the fastest lap of the race last time.
Looked like he made contact with Tactician there, so well, I think it might be actually a Big Parenta he made contact with, which is why he's dropped into the clutch with the Tactician and Blizzard. He's doing a really good job at the moment, I must say. He's gained a couple of places, he's showing really good pace with that fastest lap. Cherry 2-Pie and RC Spider are really going hammer and tong, and it's up the inside goes the Force India, but the Cherry 2-Pie is coming back at him, a little bit of wheel barging, and that Spider offline. All of this is going to play into the hands of the Ferrari behind. We could have a potential 3-wide situation now as they're heading down the back straight. RC Spider going to try and go up the inside. Cherry 2-Pie covering off, making 2 manoeuvres there. Risky business. He's pushing onto the grass, and he's just avoided damage there. Cherry 2-Pie is living dangerously, and there goes RC Spider, and could Sean be piped very quickly. There's no love lost between these two. He's cut him off. Sean's going a long way round. Going to have to go round the outside, hugging, which will turn to the inside out, breaking Cherry 2-Pie there nicely. And it looks like RC Spider's gained. It's just a bit of damage limitation there. I was just about to say to you, Andy, before that started, RC Spider and Sean they are used to this situation. They've been in race leads, they've held a lead off, and they've been battling for leads frequently. Cherry 2 Pie, this is uncharted territory this season for him. He's had major bad luck. I think it's 6 points in total he's picked up. Sean's getting feisty. Up the inside he goes. That's a late lunge, and that's a lovely manoeuvre up the inside from Sean. He kept caught Cherry 2 Pie napping there, and he's all over the place. Maybe some front wing damage for the Toro Rosso because he in the background there, Ferrari losing the rear end of Davidoff. He's held it nicely, and you're getting scrappy between these two. Lee Findlay has got past Cherry 2 Pie, and now his teammate Casper. Good, so this is real damage limitation. Gone completely wrong at the moment for the Toro Rosso, but Cherry 2 Pie is coming back at Lee Findlay. Could he go for a late lunge into the hairpin? No, he does not. But Casper behind him, his teammate, is getting very there. Sim 1, Lee Findlay holding off a P3. But look at the gains that Sean and Spider have picked up. Yellow flags now.
Safety car.
The safety car.
Yes.
So safety car's picked up. Not too sure why. If I'm honest, I have got no reason or no clue why. There was a big gaggle of cars and a big bunch up. If I'm thinking right, I don't think Cherry 2 Pie's got any damage, but that's going to be a lifesaver for him from the lead all the way down into P4. RC Spider had pulled out 1.7 seconds to Sean, so he was absolutely flying. But yeah, Sean getting some retribution there on Cherry 2 Pie.
Definitely so, just like Ollie, a little bit cutting up in places on the mic, my friend, but it is pretty much okay, it's just a little bit. But yeah, safety car, strange one, unable to figure out what has caused this safety car. Blizzard and Ruben have decided to pit. I wonder if the Renault seems to be stuck there, what's going on? Now he's doing donut. Ah, there we go. Game lag. Love it. Jim Tasty, drive-through penalty, speeding under a safety car. I wonder if Ruben and Blizzard maybe caught a bit of damage. Maybe the virtual Charlie Whiting deciding that there's far too much carbon fibre on the track maybe. Who knows? But it's hard to tell because all 13 drivers are still running. And there's no one with major damage, but we do have a lull in the race already on lap 5, and RC Spider, the winner in Monaco, leads Sean, who finished second in Monaco after the penalties. Lee Findlay up to third, having made a really nice start. He's up 3 places from his starting position. Cherry 2 Pie's down 3 places, having started on pole position, and it did look a bit like a double move down the back straight as well on RC Spider, so it could be Cherry 2 Pie's back in the steward's room, albeit maybe not him putting the steward's motion forward this time. His teammate Casper's in 5th place, Daniel in 6th, up 2 places. The H Eagle's up 2 places, he's 7th. Davidos has lost 3 places as well, down to 8th. Big Parenta down 2 into 9th. Tactician up 2 in 10th. Jim Pasty's still in 11th where he started. Ruben's lost 2 places in 12th. And Blizzard, where he was in 13th, but he has pitted. Both him and Ruben came into the pits there during this safety car period. It is lap 6 of AOR Hype Energy League's F2's coverage here on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, the third-person camera angles where we're getting these lovely camera shots, the visibility is absolutely shambolic. You have to jump on board sometimes to see which car's which. It is pretty chaotic, and these guys are doing a good enough job at the moment of holding it nicely. I'm surprised nobody has crashed at the moment. These are monsoon conditions. It is so wet out there. I don't even think we're going to be seeing any dry tyres. I mean, we heard that there is potential it could dry out, but the way this rain is coming down, it is not giving up at all. And these are quick laps, and this race goes by in an absolute flash. And I'd imagine the safety car will be in very, very shortly. Sean versus Spider is something I'm looking forward to, an absolute treat. Another thing as well, how can Cherry 2 Pie react? You've got to remember as a driver, when you're leading a Grand Prix comfortably and you feel like you've got it in the bag after the quickest time in qualifying and you feel like you deserve to be there, to drop 3 places in such a quick... I don't even think it was a lap. It was two sectors of a lap that he dropped from 1st to 4th. And it could have been more with the way Casper's going. He probably would have lost the position to Casper going into the final chicane as the safety car is coming in this lap. Cherry 2 Pie could have lost out absolutely dramatically, but he didn't. He done well. But how does he react to that situation? He has to keep his head up, keep his focus. If he makes any more mistakes, then he's going to be kicking himself. And I dare say he'll be complaining like no one else. I dare say there'll be some form of complaint about Sean or someone into the stewards. Expect that within the hour. So yeah, safety car is coming, and RC Spider is giving up no time. He doesn't want to back the pack up. He wants to get going straight away, and he's a little bit annoyed, I think, that he wasn't able to just go, as these guys are back bunching up though. No backing up from RC Spider as the safety car has come in. Him and Sean both clipping the wall. They've pulled out a gap already on Lee Findlay as Cherry 2 Pie is in the wall. He's into the wall, and I literally mentioned it a second ago about how he was going to react. and he just needed to keep it clean, and he has lost it into the wall of champions. And I don't want to call it the commentator's curse, but it feels that way. He's into the wall. He may as well keep going because of the fact there is a good chance people would retire. But from first down to 12th, we expected it to go horribly wrong. We don't often see him that high up, and I would say I'm surprised, but I think we may have seen it coming.
And surprisingly, by the looks of it, no damage, so he's got quite lucky there, and he's lucky going across the track. We caught the end of it. He didn't collect anybody. You could see the car broadside down the front straight, but Spider tried to get the drop. As you say, he didn't want to hang about. He had to actually check up a little bit because he nearly caught the safety car, and if it wasn't for that, I think he wouldn't be a little bit further up the road on Sean than he is just now. But they've managed to get the jump on Lee at least anyway, in third place, as we've got Daniel as Casper getting sideways, I think, on the way out because he was well ahead there, and the Haas driver goes up into fourth place. Casper dropping down to fifth, and there goes the H-Eagle up into fifth place as well as Casper side. Oh, he's hit off. H-Eagle in the wall. Contact there with Casper, as you say, and that is not what happened. It looks like maybe just lit the tyres up there from the Toro Rosso, and that is not good at all. H-Eagle drops down to 12th place at the moment.
Yeah, that was strange. I've already bought with a H-Eagle there, and I don't know why, and I have no reason. Oh, blimey, well, he's just running to the back of Jim Pasty coming to the pits, and he's pushed his way in there. So Pasty and H-Eagle both coming in. Pasty broke really early there, surprisingly. But yeah, I think Casper may have to take the majority of the blame for that one. He's just lost the rear end slightly and ran into the poor... I feel bad for the H-Eagle. The poor Salvador has been collected there, but the midfield scrap, as always, is nice and tight from Casper, Davidos, Big Parenta, Tactician, Ruben, Blizzard, all very, very tight. Blizzard's doing quite well. I mean, he's pitted as well, so with Ruben, so they're both pitted to still be in the points at the moment. The safety car has done them a huge favour. No DNFs at the moment, which is quite surprising. If we had maybe a few more guys here, we've expected a DNF or two, but they're doing a really solid job at the moment. No change of the tyres for these guys. They will be staying on the wet tyres as there's no real dry patches starting to form at the moment. One thing I do want to mention is when Ruben was catching up to the safety car, I noticed that he completely cut one of the chicanes. He did take it correctly, of course, to go around the bullards when you do re-enter the track, but it just makes you think he may have picked up a warning from that. And what a silly thing to do when you're just catching onto the back of the safety car. It's going to be a nice tight pack and you can gain onto, and he just decided to cut there, so that might come back and bite him later on in this Grand Prix.
It's very possible that that might be the case indeed, and I can see you're trying to stir it up in the chat already, Ollie, so well done you. But yeah, if you are in the chat, drop anything you want to mention down. We'll keep up with it as much as we can, and if you are using Twitter as well, don't forget to use the hashtag AOR Hype. This is lap 9 of 35. It's F2 on the PS4, second tier on the console, and we've got 13 runners in soaking wet conditions here in Montreal, as we're currently watching the two Red Bulls, the Big Parenta and Tactician, fighting over 7th and 8th, as Big Parenta getting sideways. They're so hard to get the power down in these soaking wet conditions. We're still keeping an eye on everything around us. You can see Blizzard in the background. There's Spider drifting his way through turn 5, heading down towards 6, 7 and 8 and 9. So, you know, these two have disappeared. They've almost checked out now from the rest of the field. You can just see in the background Lee Finlay there. He's 3 seconds down on Sean and nearly 4 seconds down on the lead. So these two are in a bit of a league of their own at the moment, as Sean goes deep on the brakes into the hairpin there, avoids contact. He should be able to get a good run out though down this back straight. Let's see if the Ferrari can do it. Oh, Spider nearly catching the grass there. Sean is right behind as we come down the back straight. You can see where the drier line is. The Spider moves back to the racing line. Sean up the inside into the chicane. He's going to have to be careful on the brakes, but he gets the move done, and that is another lovely move after passing Cherry Tupai earlier into turn 5. He's made another beautiful move on Spider, who's not finished yet as they come up to turn 1. Lee Finlay with the fastest lap trying to catch up to him now, but Sean moves into the lead. A beautiful overtaking move there from the Dutchman.
Yep, the track is now starting to dry up. I've looked at the visibility and I'm looking at the dry lines. The rain is also starting to lighten a little bit, so the it's drying up, and we can be seeing intermediates within 5 to 8 laps. I'd imagine it does dry up quite quickly around this track and on this game in general, so we should be seeing the intermediates very sharply. There's a lovely midfield scrap going on from Big Parenta, Tactician, Ruben and Blizzard, all very, very tight, which is allowing Cherry Tupai the opportunity to gain onto the rear end, but he's not doing so at the moment. In fact, he's dropping time. He's gone from 6 seconds to 6.9 now, so he's dropping back a lot. so I think he may be trying to hold it out. It might be worth him coming into the pits for a set of intermediate tyres to try and go for something different. He's not likely to get points unless somebody crashes out, but his midfield scrap from Big Parenta backwards is lovely. Davidos and Casper and Dan Daniel as well battling out for P4, which could be a podium if there's any contact. RC Spider trying to come back at Sean, but I do not think he's going to be close enough. But I can see these two battling for the foreseeable future. The pit stops, as mentioned earlier by Andy, are going to be absolutely vital from these guys. The Spider picked up a 3-second penalty. I'd expect quite a few of them for these guys in this Grand Prix, but he's picked up a 3-second penalty, which isn't going to be ideal for him. Sean, it's the fastest lap, so the times are tumbling and the track is getting much, much drier.
Definitely so. This is going to be an exciting race. The tyre strategy, when to come in for intermediates or even dry tyres, who knows, is going to be the key to getting a good result in this race. Casper there just running wide into turn 1, allowed Davidos to catch right back up to him there. Nearly came into contact on the rear wing, so he's managed to avoid that. There is some good battles going on, as you say. Casper, Davidos 5th and 6th places. The H Eagle goes fastest lap, and then just behind him, a lovely helicopter shot through the trees. The two Red Bulls, Big Parenta, Tactician. You can just see Ruben there at the bottom of the screen on the helicopter shot, and Blizzard is in this as well. So we've got a 4-way battle for 7th. 5th and 6th are battling, but up front, RC Spider still trying to catch back on. Sean's managed to get nearly a second up the road now, so that Ferrari seems to have good grit, and Sean's obviously in a good position. He's got no spray, he can pick his lines as Davidos and Casper into the hairpin, just picking that up at the end, and the Ferraris got through. I'd be surprised if there was no contact there with the way they were looking as we picked that one up, and Davidos going to the left hand side there onto the wet stuff to cool the tyres down, but Casper's now going to go down the inside into the chicane, but he's going to have to back out of that one. Doesn't feel confident enough going into that one on the brakes, and he backs out and loses out on 5th place at the moment to Davidos as Big Parenta, the latest one to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Penalties are going to be a big thing at the end of this race, especially if it dries up soon, because when it's dry, especially that last chicane, we've seen it in qualifying, they can go through that if they get it right, around about 125 miles an hour clipping the curbs, but you get it slightly wrong, you're outside the white lines and get a warning.
Yeah, you can tell the guys are finding that this track is drying up because they are cutting these corners. The dry lines are starting to form. There's a little bit more pace as fastest lap just coming in there from the H Eagle. Yeah, you can tell the guys are starting to feel that grip, and these tyres are coming a little bit more alive because they are cutting the corners. They're taking a bit more leeway, trying to go a little bit quicker through every single turn. You can tell the consistency of the guys who are not picking up penalties because they're just keeping their heads at the moment. Penalties are going to be absolutely vital. Casper and Davidos keeping it tight, but Casper, the guy you had as your man to watch out, is really not lit up as expected. At one stage he was right on the rear end of Cherry 2 Pie. It's just dropped back quite significantly in the moment. Lee Findlay, I feel for, who's in no man's land. He's been 3 seconds behind the two ahead of him, and had a big enough gap to Dan Daniel that he doesn't really have to worry. You can see the guys ahead of him, but he really isn't going to get close enough unless in the pit stop something goes his way. I'd be surprised if it does. Big Parenta and Tactician. Tactician has seen the rear end of his teammate for way too long, and he's going to be sick and tired of the sight of it very shortly. He'll be wanting to get past Big Parenta with a big overtake here as they're heading down into turn 1. He's got the slipstream and DRS later on the brakes. No, he is not. He thinks better of it, but Big Parenta has outbroke himself. That's going to open the opportunity around the outside for Tactician. Could this actually allow Ruben behind to slip in if these two battle? Here goes Tactician. Lovely traction around the outside. This is going to turn into a lovely scrap. Is Big Parenta going to hold it off? Outbroke himself, Tactician, but he's held the line there, and Big Parenta's given his teammate lots of respect. He's going to get better traction, but he's unable to do so, and he's going to have to subcede that position. Down to 8, 3 abreast now, potentially. The Renault backs out there, Blizzard. The Mercedes of Ruben going up the inside, and Big Parenta could be on for an absolute nightmare here if the two behind him pick up some pace. A lovely little scrap between these guys. Ruben doing a good enough job to hold the car as he lost the rear end slightly, but Tactician's starting to go off into the distance as Big Parenta may have a big challenge from behind from Ruben and Blizzard.
Yeah, Big Parenta seems to be struggling at the moment. This is the closest battle on the track. Everyone else has got at least a second between them. So you can see Sean's now 1.4 seconds clear as Ruben up the inside into the hairpin. A slight touch of the wheels there with Big Parenta. Blizzard's in a good position to take advantage if he can do. Down at the main straight, they're sliding their way through, and here comes the Renault on the Mercedes down the back straight. No DRS at the moment. Sean goes with a new fastest lap. That's going to give Big Parenta a bit of breathing room. Can Blizzard get the move? He's got the move done done before they get into the chicane, and that is him up into P9. This is a battle for a last points paying position at the moment, and Davidos is in the pits. He's gone for intermediate tyres. He's the first one to blink. He thinks it's getting dry enough, and he thinks he can make some good progress on the green wet tyre, the intermediates instead. So we'll need to keep an eye on his progress, because that could be key to when the rest of the drivers come in. Lap 14 of 35. We're fast approaching half distance here in Montreal in AOR Hype Energy League, and we've got 13 drivers. We've still got every driver racing, no retirements so far, which is absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah, a lot of respect goes out to these guys, especially the likes of, you know, Cherry 2 and whatnot, who have had incidents, but I'm keeping an eye on Davidos, and he does seem to be going at a decent pace. He's gained 0.2 of a second through Cherry 2 in just one corner, so he is really flying. But then again, Cherry 2 isn't showing great pace at this time. Interesting to see if Davidos will be gaining in the corners, because the straights he's not really going to be gaining too much. It's in the corners, he's just outbroke himself a little bit, so maybe the intermediates aren't that fresh at the moment. So yeah, he's keeping a decent gap though. So it is at that crossover point between these guys. I said between lap 5 and 10, Cherry 2 going to the hairpin has locked up dramatically, which could be the best indication for us of the wet tyres going off. Looking further up the field, anyone coming into the pitch? Yes, you've got Casper who's coming in. The leaders didn't come in, any of the top 4. Anyone behind? Yes, Big Tactician, sorry, has come in. Big Parenta can't. Blizzard is going side by side with Big Parenta. He hasn't come in, he's decided to stay out. Ruben also coming into the pitch. Cherry 2 has made it a call as well, so Davidos may have just pulled off a fantastic manoeuvre coming into the pitch, because he's going to be on nice warm tyres. Keep an eye on any positions he can gain. He may even be able to jump down Daniel and get close onto the back of Lee Findlay. This extra lap could be costly for some of these guys.
Definitely so. Davidos as well, he's side by side with Casper, who's just came out of the pits, so that was very close between them, but he's jumped the Toro Rosso driver in the pit stops. He was behind after a poor start, but just that one lap extra, getting onto the intermediates, has just done the trick for the Ferrari driver, and he's currently 28 seconds off the lead. But in terms of those up ahead, as you say, he could jump as far up as Daniel in 4th, as we've got Big Parenta and Blizzard fighting. Blizzard has got past the Red Bull going through the second chicane as they went under the bridge there, and the Red Bull starting to drop back. You've got to feel it's... The leaders are still
stayed out.
Ooh,
yeah, they've stayed out on the wet. Lee Findlay's coming to the pits. Yeah, that is really strange. I just looked up from Sean and he went in, and I thought RC Spider may do the complete opposite, but no, that's an upset. I'd say that could well be advantage to the likes of Davidos. As a sector 3 yellow flag, who's gone off? It's Jim Pasty. He went off at the final hairpin. At the hairpin. And he's reset onto the track, and that's promoted Cherry 2 upper position. So yeah, surprising, but all the guys other than that look to be coming to the pits now. And
what I'd say there, Davidos could be the big gainer out of this. He's not quite managed to jump VP Dan Daniel, who just pulls out in front of him, but Davidos now back up into 5th place, which is where he started on the grid. He lost 3 places early doors, so that earlier pit stop has done the trick for him. But I'm keeping an eye on the gap now to the leaders, because as you say, they've not pitted. Lee Finley's on intermediates, he's the first one on intermediates, he's 20 seconds behind these two here, still on the wet tyres, and it's a shortish pit lane here at Montreal. It's around about 18 seconds roughly to make a pit stop, so they could just do it, but obviously Lee Finley's going to be cutting into that gap pretty quickly. Does Sean come in? Yeah, Sean's into the pits, and Spider follows him, so they've both come into pits. So we're going to follow Lee Finley now, coming back down the back straight. He could get the jump. Let's follow the McLaren driver as he comes up to the last couple of corners here. It's going to be side by side, I think, coming into turns 1 and 2. The McLaren goes through. The two leaders, Spider and Sean, will be leaving pit lane about now. I so wish we had a map. I really, really do.
There he goes. He's gone past, and RC Spider's now going to be coming in. He's got the jump on Spider.
He's got Spider could get around the outside. He's cutting that white line, so the Spider, when it looks at it, was very tight to the line, and they're side by side, and the cameras are giving me terrible views there. But Lee Finley has jumped RC Spider by just coming in that lap earlier. Sean was just far enough out the way, and Sean's actually gained 3 seconds already. So I don't know what's happened there in the pit stops, but that's worked out beautifully for the Ferrari. But Spider Spider loses a place to Lee Finlay just due to coming in that lap earlier, and your top three now are Sean from Lee Finlay, RC Spider in third, VP Dam Daniel in fourth, Dawidos is in fifth, Casper 6th, Tactician 7th, Ruben in 8th, Blizzard 9th, Big Parenta 10th. Here comes Spider up the inside into the hairpin. Is he going to have a go? No, he had a bit of an overspeed run there though. He had the jump almost, but couldn't quite get it done, and he's going to have another go. But we're now at half distance, and all change as the intermediates come into effect. And now the story goes, will it stay wet enough until the end of the race, or will they have to pit for dry tyres? Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, RC Spider now really hugging onto the rear end of Lee Finlay. Obviously, Lee's will be a bit more up to temperature, but they will be feeling a bit more wear later on in this Grand Prix. All eyes go onto the sky, but for now, it's all eyes on RC Spider, as he's going to be hunting down Lee Finlay for P2, a position he held for the majority of this Grand Prix, behind Cherry 2 Ply, but then got past him and then was jumped by Sean, which pretty much got into the tissue now. On intermediate tyres, he's got a bit of clean air, 2.5 seconds to the car ahead of him, so he's doing a real good job. Biggest loser from them pit stops was Big Parenta, who was up in 8th position, has dropped down to P10. This actually allowed Cherry 2 Pine to get involved into this battle, so he's done a real good job. He's gained 7 seconds on the car ahead of him. So yeah, you see the sort of gap that Blizzard had, that was the gap Cherry 2 Pine. So Blizzard and Big Parenta not really gaining too much from that. In fact, they've lost out quite a lot. Cherry 2 Ply has got himself back into a battle for points. It's probably going to be no consolation to him, considering he was leading earlier on. Lee Finlay is going to have to defend once again from Spider. Spider's going to be absolutely furious, because 4 seconds is now the gap to Sean, and he had a chance of getting a potential race victory here, but it slipped away from him as Sean looks to try and get another race victory. It could have been back-to-back if it was not for the incident with Cherry 2 Ply at Monaco that cost him the place after a steward's inquiry. I'm looking at the sky, and I'm not sure about you if you can see this, but there are little blue patches starting to form. I say blue patches, much lighter patches, which gives me the impression that I think we could be seeing dry tyres. I see one tiny blue patch, as now comes RC Spider onto the rear end of Lee Finlay, but Lee Finlay defending very well, placing his car. I think this is something we've seen previously. I think it's Spain. Andy, we saw Lee Finlay park his car, an absolute treat, and he's very difficult to overtake.
Very much so, and again, as I said earlier on, Lee Finlay's actually, I believe, driving a pad at the moment as well. So very, very good. I'm sure I've seen it on the chat that we have on the PSN. I'm sure he said he's a pad runner at the moment. So if that is the case, phenomenal job from the McLaren driver. As you say, he's very hard to get past, very fair. Obviously, we've seen the incident in Monaco with Hamilton. Lee put his hand up saying that he did get a bit wrong going into the first move, but obviously the shocking move afterwards has seen Hamilton blacklisted from AOR. Hopefully he can find a way to redeem himself somehow, but the community weren't too chuffed at it because it went viral pretty quickly. But as I said earlier, I want to move forward rather than looking backwards from that incident. So Lee is looking pretty good though at the moment, but Sean now 5 seconds up the road from Lee Finlay. RC Spider, as you can see there, don't need to give you the gap to that one, right on his tail. And Daniel's 2 seconds back, but he's managed to pull away from Dawidos by 1.7. Casper is 2 seconds back from the Ferrari Tactician, a second off of Casper, and Ruben 3 seconds down there. Blizzard on his debut, 7 seconds off of Ruben in 9th, and Big Parenta rounds out the top 10. And I think a good indicator, as I've seen from other races I've done, Ollie, in terms of if it'll be dry enough for dry tyres, is if we see the virtual Charlie Whiten give the message DRS enabled.
Yeah, you can, that's normally the dead giveaway. But sometimes, if you look up the sky and you see them blue patches, you get a little bit excited. And let's hope we do see some blue patches, because nothing would bring me more joy than these guys are going on dry tyres and seeing what they go for, because the Hypersofts have no life in them. The Ultrasofts are not that quick, and the Supersofts will guarantee them till the end. So the quicker it happens, the more drama we're going to have here. Closest battles on track to keep an eye on, obviously the main one, RC Spider at the moment from Lee Finlay. Nothing really close. Cherry 2 Ply is gaining on to Big Parenta, but it's remained about a similar gap. The H-Eagle was set fastest laps frequently, and that could be an idea. That could be like an opportunity for him to get into the points if he can get onto the rear end of Cherry 2 Ply. It's now down to 5.9. It was at 7 seconds earlier, so he's absolutely flying. So I'd imagine he'll be onto the rear end of Cherry 2 Ply and maybe try and snatch some points. He had a really good race, and was pretty consistent and quick. Yeah, if you look now in the sky, you can see the blue patches are starting to form above the clouds and just getting larger and larger every single lap. Even just looking at the track, you can see that it's starting to dry up slightly. RC Spider will be hoping it will dry up nice and quickly so he can get that DRS past Lee Findlay, who's gone very deep into turn 1, opening opportunity for the Force India driver. Going to go around the outside, avoiding the wheel barging between the two of them, but Lee Findlay holds on to it. But these the cracks are starting to show in his mentality there. He's starting to make little mistakes, and this is going to make RC Spider very, very keen to get past the McLaren driver ahead of him. Lee Findlay involved in an incident last week, but now he's involved in one hell of a scrap between him and RC Spider, showing some great mental strength there to get cracking on with this. And P2 is on the cards for him. He just needs to defend against RC Spider. He's lost the rear end there, and that's allowed Spider to get up into the rear end. Oh, a little bit of rear end barging between the two of them there. No damage. Lee Findlay's gone very deep into that corner as well. RC Spider going for the switchback. He's got better momentum now as they're going to head into turn 10's hairpin behind. Dan Daniels getting closer and closer, but I think RC Spider may get it. Lee Findlay's not going to give him an inch, so he's locked up all 4 of his tyres. Lucky to not go into the side there and T-bone the Force India. He's got the position at the moment, but it looks like the momentum's going to fall into Spider's hands if he can hold this inside line. This could be a real scrappy little battle. Let's hope they don't get any contact. Lee Findlay's actually coming back at him here, so using the ERS effectively. He's got the inside line. RC Spider cannot get the manoeuvre done. A fantastic swivel between them two as Spider picks up another 3-second penalty. This has allowed this has now allowed Sean to gain 7.7 seconds, but this has also dragged Dan Daniel into this equation, and this is getting very, very saucy.
Definitely getting very interesting indeed. That was, again, though, as we said, Lee Findlay, good defensive. He made the mistake, but he was able to defend. He had to defend for nearly the entire lap there, and then obviously Spider side by side down towards the last chicane, but as you say, using the battery deployment well, and the McLaren driver stays ahead, but Daniel's getting dragged into this, and Dawidos will be getting dragged along with it as well. And if you look at the gap in general, the top 8 are covered by 16 seconds, so less than a pit stop between the top 8 at this particular point in time. But we're going to stick with this battle between Lee Findlay and RC Spider that Daniel's starting to catch up to. Findlay getting it sideways again there on exit. You've got to wonder if these intermediates are maybe overheating slightly with a drier racing line. It's still raining, but as you say, it's getting a bit brighter. The visibility is much better now than it was early doors when we had that mysterious safety car come out. But we'll stick with this battle for now, because the other nearest battles in track tactician is a second behind Casper and Cherry Tupai within a second of Big Parenta, so we'll keep an eye on those on the screens, but we'll stick with this action at the moment. But as you say, Sean is now 8.5 seconds up the road here as we go on to lap 23. We're on now a 35, so 13 to go, including the one they're on, and it is getting very interesting indeed, and we could soon have a 3, possibly even 4 or 5 way scrap, because on that camera there at turn 2, you've seen Dan Daniel, you've seen Dawidos, and you've seen Casper all within one camera frame for a very quick second. Blizzard picking up a 3-second time penalty at the back. Lee's in a tricky position at the moment. He wants to defend from Spider. Obviously the tyres maybe just getting a bit warm. Spider's got at least 6 seconds worth of penalties, so if it was near the end of the race it wouldn't be too much of a problem. As Spider looks to the inside, that's late in the brakes.
Dry tyres for the H Eagle. Sorry to interrupt you there, but yeah, RC Spider and Lee Findlay, sorry, but H Eagle has gone on to dry tyres.
I can see it.
I don't know why. Yeah,
that seems early.
This is incredibly early. Look at him, he's all over the place. Apologies there, interrupting you, Andy. Yeah, RC Spider got past Findlay, but what is that? He was only 4 seconds behind Cherry Tupai. He's come on to. Can you see the logic in that?
I can't at the moment. It still seems wet enough, but then again, there's not much spray off the back of the cars now. So maybe it could be a master stroke. He might be sliding about. We'll just jump on board with him real quickly. We're on with him now, coming under the Pirelli bridge up towards turns 8 and 9. Let's just see how he gets on the power coming out of here. Bit of a stepper on the way out, but it could be a master stroke. He's 21 seconds to Cherry Tupai. He was out of the points. He's maybe thinking, my best way of getting points here is to go the complete opposite to everyone else and take a risk. So we'll keep an eye on that gap between Cherry and the H Eagle and see if he starts to close up. And again, like what Dawidos did, that could be a big indicator for everyone else. But the spray has died down around the majority of the track, and the rain is subsiding. So that could end up being a bit of a tactical masterstroke if it is the right time, but he needs to get on it straight away, because if he loses too much time here, it's just a lap too early maybe that can make all the difference. So keep an eye on that. But it's lap 24 of 35. Sean is nearly 10 seconds up the road from us. I'm actually just going to run through every driver in order. There is Sean heading into the chicane, so he's going to go on and take a 25th lap in the lead by nearly 10 seconds from this man. RC Spider in second in the Force India, having just made his way past Lee Findlay about half a lap or so ago. Lee Findlay is in third, but doing very well, having started down the field in sixth, so he's made 3 places here. Dawidos into the pits, he's another one deciding dry tyres now, so he's in. Daniel in fourth, Casper moves up to 5th place, Tactician to 6th, and Ruben into 7th, and Dawidos goes on to Ultrasoft, so DRS enabled. It's getting to that point, Ollie. Here we go. This is going to be an interesting end to the race.
Yeah, I kept an eye on there with H Eagle. The final sector and parts of the second sector were completely dry, and the time when he was actually going through the wet sections where it was still marginally raining, he was doing a good enough job and he was keeping the pace. And Cherry 2 has been held up in the pits there by Big Parenta, but he's got out now. H Eagle, I think, is going to come out very close, if not ahead of Cherry 2. I think he may not have got ahead, but he's definitely got much closer. His tyres will be much warmer as well, so the H Eagle has given a lot of these guys an indication. Davidos is going to be the guy to keep an eye on. He could well have a serious gain here. I'd imagine every single one of the drivers is going to be coming into the pit now, who is out there. I think the only guys that could potentially, no, all of them.
Sean's in.
Yeah, Sean to the pits. I'd imagine RC Spider will be coming in swiftly after him. Unless he goes for something alternate, I'd be surprised if he does. No, he's coming to the pits. Lee Findlay also. So yeah, all these guys are going to filter their way into the pits. Interesting to see what tyres they go at. Yeah, big rush. I'm interested to see what tyres they go on. Sean is on the ultra softs. Everyone else on the ultra, so nobody's risking the hypers. If one person hyper softs, I'd be very surprised, but it would be a very ballsy strategy. If you're one of the guys further down, you just risk it and go for it. In there, the ultra softs for all the guys so far. Hyper softs there. The first guy is Ruben. He's gone for it. So Ruben's gone for the hypers. Blizzard is the only man who has yet to set his tyres onto the dries. But yeah, a great strategy. And Davidos has got himself into P3, but he's just slipped going into turn 1. He's avoided the grass and avoided any major damage. He's now got Casper over his rear end for a brief moment there. He was up into a podium place, but then RC Spider got past him, and he's lucky to not pick up any damage. But Davidos has done an inspired strategy and called it at the perfect time to get into P4.
Absolutely, and Lee Findlay's jumped Spider in the pits. I was actually watching Spider there on the stream, and you're seeing he got held up as others came into pit lane, as Dawidos catching the grass there on the exit of turn 6, I believe that is. But yeah, Lee's got back ahead of Spider at the moment after this Force India got held up in pit lane, but we'll keep an eye on it now. They've all gone to ultras, except, as you say, for Ruben, who's gone the riskier side. He's gone for the bubblegum hyper softs. Can he make them last 10 laps to the end of the race? Lighter fuel load could be possible, but it's going to be interesting. So it's completely dry now. We're on to dry weather tyres. DRS is now available, and it'll now be interesting to see, because they're really going to start taking liberties with some off the curbing, as well as Tactician has a look at VP Daniel down the straight into the last chicane, but can't get it done. It was Ruben sliding his way through the last corner there, but can Tactician do anything on Daniel here? No, he cannot. But we now have a good, apart from Sean who's 12 seconds clear, if you look from Lee down to Ruben, there's only 6 seconds between 2nd and 8th place, so this is going to be a frantic finish here at Montreal. Lap 27, 8 laps to go, and this is just getting very spicy indeed.
Yeah, the longer that these guys are all bunched up in this little midfield scrap, the better that's going to be for Ruben, who's going to be trying to gain on as much as possible. And then here he's on the quickest tyres at the moment. How long is going to last? He's just cut the wall. In fact, he may have picked him some damage up, which is not ideal from him. That could have been a race ender there. Surprisingly, nobody has actually crashed out. We've had a rain-filled session much for around about 25 laps in total at prime intermediate conditions. Not so much has actually DNF break, but so then one safety car. It's been a real interesting Grand Prix. Tactician is all over the rear end of Dan Daniel, and I think he may be able to get the manoeuvre done this time. Dan Daniel going defensive. A lovely little switch back from Tactician on the pad. Dan Daniel cannot get back at him, and he's got the manoeuvre done. That's a lovely overtake from Tactician, clean as you like, and he has moved up into P6. But Dan Daniel may be having a look to come back at him. The fastest laps are getting quicker and quicker every single lap, and Tactician holds on to P6. Casper is all over the rear end of Davidos, who was showing serious pace earlier. You've got RC Spider, who may benefit from the DRS later, as Big Parenta is now our first DNF. He's lost it going into the
virtual safety car.
Yeah, virtual safety car. I was wondering why Cherry 2 Pie was lifting off, and that would be why. So Big Parenta has hit the wall out of the Wall of Champions, and they is the first DNF. Once again, I mentioned earlier Cherry 2 Pie may be making a mistake, and then he goes and makes a mistake. And I didn't say about the DNFs, and Big Parenta, he goes and makes the first DNF. You know what, Sean? I won't mention Sean for the rest of this Grand Prix, because he may hold a little grudge.
Yeah, if that was to be a commentator's curse there, he might just lynch you for that one, my friend, so it'd be probably a good idea that. But RC Spider, I think the virtual safety car will be due to end very shortly, but Big Parenta getting it wrong, as you say, catching the Wally Champions. He was on the pit wall side, as we've seen it. We didn't catch it on the stream, but he was up against the wall on the pit wall side, missing at least one wheel, and the Red Bull driver out of this race. The first DNF after, as you say, very wet races. We're back underway with green lights around the track, but after all the rain and everything, it's taken till lap 28 for the first DNF, so very good driving from everybody here today. We've not seen any crashes very much. And here goes RC Spider on Lee Finlay. He's got the jump on him into turn 1 after the green flag's repaired, and he has got the move done one more time, having lost out in the pit stops before. Oh, very sideways there as he lights the tyres up, but after losing out in the pit stops, he is back ahead of Lee Finlay, and the Force India is now back into second place, but he's 14 seconds behind Sean. That's going to be a tall order to get anywhere close to that, because we know Sean's pace here has been pretty good indeed. But that's put him into second. Lee is in third, Davidos in fourth. He's got around about a second to Casper now, who's in fifth, and we're on board with Tactician on the front wing camera at the moment, trying to catch up to the Toro Rosso at the moment. So keep an eye on everything. We're on lap 29 of 35, coming into the closing stages here, and here goes Daniel to the outside of Tactician into the turn 10 hairpin. This is for 6th place. He can't get it done. Can he get on the power earlier? They're both sliding their way out, and now down the straight. They're both going to have DRS, I would imagine. They do indeed. So side by side coming up to the chicane here. There goes the Ferrari Toro Rosso. They're nearly touching wheels. Tactician's got the inside line. It just breaks that little bit later. Yeah, but I'll try that one again. And he keeps the position, but and Daniel's not going to be close enough to have a go. And there's Spider, another 3-second penalty. He, at the moment, is risking dropping right the way down this leaderboard at the end of the race, because the rest of the field are very, very close. He could drop as low as 8th at the moment with those time penalties, so not what he wants to be doing at all.
Yeah, we're looking further down the grid. Battle for 10th place at one solitary point. Cherry 2 Pie got pole in this round for obviously making that mistake earlier. The H Eagle is actually gaining on him, so that could be a tasty little battle we see from them guys. Lee Finlay dropping behind RC Spider as expected, but the race may come back to him. In fact, RC Spider is the fastest man out on track at the moment after setting the fastest lap, and he's gaining on Sean as well. Casper may finally get that overtaking opportunity on Davidos as he comes in the hairpin, locks up that right-sided front tyre, and that may just hinder him a little bit, but I think he's going to get a good enough run on Davidos here. Davidos has got great straight line speed, but a good exit there from the Toro Rosso may be close enough. I think he's going to be a bit too far back to get a manoeuvre done. Maybe next lap needs to maximise that hairpin. Daniel though on Tactician, can he get it done this time, heading into 13 as it opens to 14 into the Wall of Champions. He's all over his rear end. He's got a fantastic exit. Tactician picking up penalty, that's why he's backed off. Daniel going to go around the inside, and that's a late little move there, just barging his way through, just avoids the grass. He's later on the brakes. Tactician's not going to give him an inch here. He's going to hold it out the inside, and that is the Haas gaining the position up into P6 once of P4. He's now battling for P6. Next up for him is going to be 0.3 seconds up the road, battling with Davidos as Daniel's hit the wall there, risking damage on his front front wing there. But Tactician is not giving up easily, so these two could continue to squabble, and Daniel may not be seeing the end of that Red Bull.
Definitely not, it could be still, but that move was made just by breaking that little bit earlier into the chicane so that he could get the run on the way out. That's what made that move for Daniel. Tactician gave him the space but kept it as tight as possible, squeezed him a little bit to the inside, but the Haas driver getting past at the moment, but flirting with danger with the walls as we're back up trying to see if Casper can have another go at Davidos down the back straight into the hairpin. We're coming up to start, we're on to lap 32 32 now, or 35, so not long to go in this race, and there's time penalties popping up all over the shot. It's like looking at a slot machine lighting up with all the penalties coming across the board now, so we need to keep an eye on that come the end of the race. Casper not close enough, but these two are catching up to Lee Findlay, who's dropped nearly 2 seconds off at RC Spider since the Force India got through, so that is not too good for the pad runner. Maybe the tyres are wearing out a bit quickly on that McLaren. So we're keeping an eye on that. Tactician, the latest one, pick up another 3-second time penalty, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to see the times changing at the end, but just real quickly, we've still got 16 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much for sticking around. If you are in the chat, pop down who is your driver of the day. Me and Ollie will discuss ours obviously at the end of the race and see what we think there, but who do you think is the driver of the race here today? Would you give it to Sean with what seems to be a pretty solid performance out front, pulling away? Do you give it to Lee Findlay moving up a few places, being a pad runner, or do you give it to Davidos with his tactical master strokes coming in to change your inters and drives at the right time to elevate and back up the order? Drop it in the comments below, because we're on lap 33. We've only got 4 laps to go, including the one we're on, and Davidos has got Casper all over. Oh, Daniel's in the wall in the background as Casper goes to the inside on Davidos, but unable to get the moves done. But Daniel, he caught the wall of champions there. Does he have any damage to that Haas? He looks like he's got away with it in terms of what we can see visually. That doesn't mean he's definitely got away with it altogether, but getting very leery on the way out of the last corner.
Yeah, I was on board with Daniel there as I was keeping an eye on him in Tactician, and it looks like he's just hit the curb a little bit, hit the wall. It's just his wheel, so he hit just the rim of that wheel, the side of the wheel, so he's not picked up any damage, luckily for him, and that is why you've really got to be careful when you go through that section of corners. But yeah, you mentioned driver of the day. One person won't be as a man. He just picked up 3 seconds penalties. I dare say he'll be disappointed. A point is a point at the end of the day, but it was it could have been so much more. You've got to feel for him, but it was driver error at the end of the day, and he's down in 10th. The point will bring him up to 7. It's been a strange old season for Cherry 2 Price, showed some good pace, but just never seemingly got going. I think you can agree, Andy, he's somebody who's always involved in bad luck, whether it's his own fault or someone else's. He always seems to be involved in something, but he could still have that point taken away from him from the H Eagle. Tactician and Dan Daniel just have continued to squabble this entire race, and Casper and Davidos are in a similar situation, but now Lee Findlay has been thrown into the equation, and this could be a battle for the podium, 34 or 35. This race has absolutely flown by, and I am surprised of how quickly it's gone. Normally these races can drag a little bit when they hit the middle part, but it's just been action, action, action throughout the field. For me, driver of the day, I'm going to throw it in the hat. I know he's not finishing yet, and it could all change. It's got to be Sean. He hasn't started from pole. He started in 3rd position. He's gained up into 3rd, so he's done a really good job.
No, I think I need to agree with you on that one. He's been... it's utterly sublime almost, especially once he got into the lead, and he's just controlled it from there, benefited in the pit stops as well. He's probably been quite lucky as well with Davidos saying coming into the pits, because I know they two chat on the party team radio basically, so maybe Davidos giving them a wee bit of a heads up that it was dry enough as well with him going. But he's definitely played at an absolute peach here today, and he's 14 seconds clear as he sets the fastest lap of the race as he goes into his final lap of the race. So we're on the final lap now. Here goes Casper trying again. Now this is a fight now for the final podium position between Lee Findlay, Davidos and Casper over 3rd, 4th and 5th. Lee Findlay's been dragged back into this. Davidos is going to have a look to the inside. He does not go for it on this occasion, but here we go. This is going to be an interesting finish, and just behind them Dan Daniel and Tactician are fighting over 6th and 7th, and looking back, Blizzard is right behind Ruben as well, so we need to keep an eye on the Renault driver, see what he can do to finish his debut race off. Penalties are going to come into this as well, so even if they finish on the track, it's not over yet. We'll keep an eye on everything as we come through to the last couple of corners of this frantic and very fast paced race. Here goes Casper to the inside of Davidos under the bridge. He's got the inside line, he pushes the Ferrari slightly wide there, and Davidos uses the run off, and Casper is through. Aggressive but fair, I would say, just on the cusp, and the Toro Rosso is through and into 1st place. But here comes Sean through the final corner, and it is a 3rd win of the season. It could quite easily have been 5 without penalties, but he wins the Canadian Grand Prix and sets fastest lap in the process. RC Spider's going to come through for 2nd place, but we need to watch this battle for 3rd. Can Lee Findlay hold on to 3rd place? It looks like he's going to do it if he doesn't hit the wall, and he does do. But it could be second with penalties. Let's see. Yes, he increases, and Casper goes to third as well. Spider drops to fourth. Dawidos is the fifth place. Tactician will be sixth. So Daniel had penalties as well that he had lost out. So Tactician improves to sixth place. Blizzard has got past Ruben, but and he stays ahead. So I knew both of them had some penalties. So Blizzard on his debut in 8th, Ruben 9th. Cherry 2 Pie does finish in 8th place though, as Blizzard and Ruben have their penalties too much more than Cherry 2 Pie. The Eagle in 11th, and Jim Pasty will be last over the line to finish at the Canadian Grand Prix. He's just coming into the final corner now, but it is a third win of the season for Sean, and that is another week where he's increased his championship lead. Sean is your winner of the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, an exceptional drive there from Sean. We both agreed. Driver of the day as well. A solid drive. And do you know what? That was a drive of a champion. Of the track that has got the Wall of Champions, you'd say that he is going to be a champion in the making. He's going to celebrate that one in style. It's a shame that his teammate was unable to get on the podium. He probably deserved it with the strategy he pulled off for so long. And yeah, he picked up penalties as well, which is why he's only was unable to get onto the podium. But for Casper, he'll be very pleased considering where the Toro Rosso started and his teammate being on pole. Done a good enough job of getting to P3, but Sean is your race winner as mentioned. Podium celebrations underway. So let's take another quick look at the classifications one last time after what was one hell of a chaotic Grand Prix. For some reason the background showing rain. I don't know why, but Sean wins. He did pick up a penalty, but it was not big enough to subside that 15-second gap to Lee Findlay in second. Casper puts two Dutchmen on the podium. He's in third. It's RC Spider in fourth, who was in second, but after multiple penalties drops down to fourth. Davidos in fifth is the only man to hold his position other than Ruben. Tactician, he's in sixth. Dan Daniels in seventh. Cherry Tupai, who started on pole, finishes in 8th position. A disaster for him, but 4 points to his championship total. Blizzard on his debut in P9, Ruben in 10th, and then the H-Eagle and Pasty make up 11 and 12. Big Parenta, the only guy who DNF'd, he is in P13 of 13 runners. He picked up 12 seconds worth of penalties. Congratulations to Lee Findlay as well, who's done a great job to not pick up a single penalty. I dare say Andy now will be going through to get the standings for us.
Indeed.
Yeah, we've got Sean here. We'll try and get the remainder of the guys to come and join us for the interviews. Two guys probably.
While you're doing that though, real quickly though, you do it every week and I need to do it. My pick finished ahead of your pick, so it's 5-2.
Well,
I just had to get that in.
Would you say that is though? Because Casper didn't gain any places, whereas Blizzard did, and you chose somebody who started fourth, and I chose someone who started last. So we'll let that one subside. I would say that, maybe, as you do, good Andy, maybe.
You're looking for technicalities. Come on.
Next week I'm picking the pole sitter then. I'm not sure why that. So we've got our guys here, all three of our podium finishers. Congratulations to all three of them. We'll start with Sean. Sean, this is becoming a bit of a regular occurrence. You obviously finished first last week and was taken away from you earlier on today, but another fantastic drive from you, even though you didn't start pole.
Yeah, and my pole, I could have easily got pole until my bullet decided to disturb me into the Wall of Champions. I went a little bit wide after that, and I bowled a 1:72. So that was a very, very frustrating. And I told my bullet that he should keep out of my room from now on. So
in a polite way.
In a polite way. But yeah, after I saw rain, then I knew exactly that I was very confident to actually got the win, because I'm always very good in the red in races, and yeah, I knew it would have come to myself this win, so I'm very, very pleased with this win.
Well, yeah, it was a solid performance from you. Now that is your third race win of the season. It's looking more and more likely every week that you're going to be the favourite for this championship. Do you feel like you've got that confidence and momentum at the moment?
Well, I got a good momentum now going on after, Monaco, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. And yeah, so hopefully I can keep this momentum going. So, and the next race is France. So I think that's going to be everybody just a random race, because we never race there. And yeah, so I have to see that. But if I can keep this consistency up, just keeping podiums and a win, then I think I should be looking good for the championship.
Yeah, well, congratulations. One quick question, though, of course. Cherry Tupai started on pole, and at one stage you overtook him. How sweet was that, considering everything that's gone on?
Well, I couldn't saw any. The spray was so miserable that I couldn't see a damn thing, and it was so annoying to keep after, like with Arthur Spider and with Jerry. That was actually so frustrating. And then after going to I think it's turn 5, I overtook him, I think.
Yeah.
And I got that momentum. I just hit down the inside, just a little off tap, and then finally got that. And then with Arthur Spider in the wall of change was actually a very nice move. So after that, it was just keep pushing, and then hopefully creating a nice gap for all these weather conditions.
Well, congratulations on another winner, classy one, Lee. Last week obviously was a bit of a tough one for you. Something you probably won't want to remember for a while. But how sweet did it feel that you turned this around and you've got yourself into P2 after what was probably one of the almost famous moments last week for all the wrong reasons?
Well, I don't know. First of all, congratulations to Sean for the win, and also Casper and getting to the podium. This was one of the tracks that I was not comfortable on either. I wasn't really that quick, but I just seemed to get lucky with the pit stops, because like I jumped Darty Spider in the first pit stop, and then jumped him again because he's in the Force India, and because as his garage is like further back, whereas I'm in the McLaren, so my garage is quite far forward, so it's quite a disadvantage to be quite far back. But really, when I got into a position that was quite high, I thought, right, don't cut any corners, try not to pick up any penalties, just try and keep consistent, and around a track like this where I'm not very good at, a P2 feels like a victory for me, because there was tracks before like Baku where I should have won that until I got myself into an incident, and also other tracks where I am good at but just not had the results. I think this time I feel I got lucky, but I was due a good result, so I'm really happy with that. Yeah.
Sorry, Lee, am I right in saying that you're running a pad at the moment?
Yeah, I'm on a pad.
I thought so. Amazing.
I'm hoping to switch. I'm planning to switch to a wheel soon, though. So maybe in the later part of the season, you'll probably when you see me spinning off in every corner, that's when I'm on a wheel. But just on the pad at the moment. But the conditions at the start, like, my goodness me, I just could not see a thing. And there was like guys in front battling, and it was just mental. It really was a manic race.
So yeah, it was a chaotic race, as you said. I've got to quickly ask you though. Obviously, penalties came into fruition for you with Marcy Spider. Was you made aware of the penalties? Or did you...
Well, I got told that the car behind has penalties, which was RC Spider. So I thought, right, I don't want to fight him too much because I don't want to get myself involved in another incident. So he pulled all two good moves on me, and then I got notified that Davidos got had time penalties. So I thought, right, just don't cut any corners, and just don't cut any corners, and just and just keep it on the track, and just don't get any penalties. And it seemed to have worked.
Yeah, it was a really good race from you. Congratulations there on a very impressive performance. You get yourself into P2, a contender for driver of the day. I dare say, though, sadly for you, I think it might just go to the man who finished ahead of you. Then finally, of course, Casper. Casper, your teammate started on pole, and for large portions of it, it looked like you may have to play second fiddle, but you've got yourself up into a podium. How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm obviously really happy with this result. Congratulations to Sean and Lee for getting P1 and P2.
Thank you.
And yeah, I saw my teammate was dropping down the field, and when he was P4 at the safety car restart, I think his rear tires were not hot enough, and he spun, unfortunately. So yeah, we started P1 and P4, and I think he got P10, and I got P3. So yeah, I don't know what to say about my teammate. He's had bad luck all season, and really unfortunate.
It looks like now you're starting to take a little bit of dominance in the, say, teammate battle at the moment. But for Toro Rosso, it's been a good steady run of amount of points for you both, consistent, you could say. This is your first time really in getting to these higher levels, you'd say. So do you really think now you can maybe push on and start the challenge for more frequent podiums?
Yeah, I think I definitely can. I am still improving with my wheel, and it's looking better every race weekend. And especially next time we come in France, and that's a track where I'm really good at. But however, this race, I think I need to improve my wet base. My audio name on this game is the Rainmaster, but yeah, I need to improve my
I remember you saying that before.
Yeah, I was running 7 ballast, so I compromised my qualifying.
Oh.
In practice, I was doing 107.3. With 8 ballast, but I compromised quali for the rain in the race, and especially towards the end, my pace was good because I had a stable car with 7 ballast.
Well, congratulations to Casper on 3rd position there. Real solid place and real solid run from him. Well, that's it. But for one quickly, we'll ask Sean. 3 wins now, Sean. Maybe start focusing on that championship a little bit. RC Spider looks to be the man who challenges you the most at the moment. Do you think now, going into France next week, you can have yourself a real good chance of getting a 3rd race win in a row, or sorry, 2nd race win in a row?
Well, I just have to see when I do the practice, because then I can maybe see things that I'm maybe going for the win. But right now I'm just not thinking of it, for the championship, thinking of the wins. I just see it week by week, race by race, and yeah, I'm not focusing on that much because it's gonna be in my head, and then I'm thinking about it too much, and I'm gonna be not good. So I'm just not looking at it. And hopefully France will be good. I think for everyone on the new circuit, and hopefully I can challenge for the win just straight away, and hopefully for a 3rd win in a row. That's gonna be maybe my aim. You never know.
Well, thank you, Sean, for competing and doing a great job. That's pretty much it from me. Andy, what's the standings looking like?
Yeah, all I'm going to say is France next week with all that runoff. We're going to have fun detailing where the track is, mate, but we'll deal with that next week. I've got the standings are here, basically, obviously, as I always say with anything nowadays, it's the official, unofficial, because obviously stewards' penalties afterwards might take effect. You can check my Twitter because I'm trying to do things like that.
That is, Sean's right here.
Oh no, Sean's will be fine. I'm talking about everyone else's. Anyway, Sean, 111 points. You are 43 points clear of Tactician and the H-Eagle, who are tied for 2nd on 68. Casper, you're 4th place on 65 points. Spider and Davidos are tied on 61. VP McGrady's on 53. Ash is on 47, and Lee's moved up. You're now on 43 points, so that is the standings for the drivers, but a massive gap up front there for Sean already. 43 points, nearly 2 full races now ahead of the field. In the constructors, Ferrari 172 points, having gained 35 today. Salba stay on 110 points. That's a 62 point gap there, as Salba scored no points today, with a H-Eagle outside the points and Vettel Racer not racing. Red Bull gained 8 points there on 98 in 3rd, but McLaren have jumped up to just 8 points behind them and 90 points, so that's getting quite close as well. And just a quick side note as well, nice wee stat here for Sean, Tactician and Casper. You guys are the only 3 drivers that have scored points in every race so far this season. You scored in all 7 rounds. Other drivers have either DNF'd or fell outside the points, so you guys are the only 3 that I can make out from looking at it that scored points in every race, so well done to the 3 of yous there. But that is it for a exciting and very interesting Canadian Grand Prix, but Sean is the winner in the Ferrari. Next time out, as mentioned, it is the French Grand Prix from the Circuit de Paul Ricard. I love saying that as well, it's just I enjoy doing it. But we will be back next week at 8 o'clock. Can Sean make it another victory and pull clear, or can someone start clawing that gap back? For everyone at AOR, for all the drivers, for myself, for Ollie, my name's Andy, and until next time, we'll see you again soon. Ta-ra.